So yeah, we got Tipsgiving coming up at the Fillmore now, just announced too.
It's gonna be wild.
Yep.
It's gonna be super wild.
Yep. Super stoked. Doing 3 nights this year, right?
Yep.
Got
3
the
nights at the Fillmore.
Bangers, beats, down tempo.
Bangers, beats, and down tempo.
Any predictions for support?
I really want Mickman on the blackout night, on Bangers night. And he's been pumping out new tunes and kind of showcasing them on IG and stuff. And I know they kind of said they're kind of branching off from having the same old names. But I feel like, especially after the blackout party with Mickman at Serves, that he's at least probably on their radar for wanting to be there that night, you know? And he hasn't played too many Tipper events. Like, he's played like 1 or 2, I think, now, or maybe 3.
Mm-hmm.
But, yeah, I would love to see him on blackout night. I saw some people say, like, sort of vague and, like, stuff like that. I would really like to see him there. I would like to see some out-of-name pockets, like, or some out-of-pocket names that I haven't seen in a while there, but no real predictions. You never really know what they're going to branch out. I like that they've been showing some new names that, like, people don't really know, like even Saturna and Bandito Jones and stuff like that in Alabama. Like,
I'm not familiar.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I think they're trying to really branch out and get some new names in there, which is really cool. They've had 2 Foxes at like a couple of events now, but I don't think he's had an actual set. Like he had an ambient set after the like main stage sets at Rendezvous, but I think he might pop up one of the nights, like maybe down tempo or something.
Wild. Curious to see how down tempo is. You know.
Dude, I always say down tempo is not what people think down tempo is, but like I don't know, maybe like I came into the scene listening to like Flying Lotus and stuff, which is like kind of what I consider down tempo on that scale too, where it's still pretty heavy and like it's just a slower like beat to it, slower drums and stuff. It is down tempo. It's not in your face craziness, but it is still super heavy. It's not ambient. Ambient's where we get to chill and it's very light, and I think people confuse that a lot. Like down tempo is not what you think it is. It's not gonna be chill. It's gonna be Vection and like stuff off of Jettison Mindhanch, but like you're gonna get VIPs and craziness that you've never heard before. It's Tipper.
Yeah, there will be peaks. And
valleys
and,
like I don't know. I think people forget who they're fucking with when they go see Tipper, dude. That guy is crazy.
Feel like he's bringing out the heat and the bangers. I mean, obviously leading up to his retirement, you know. It's not even weird just to like think about this post-Tipper world for the first time.
Definitely.
There's never been artists like I feel of this caliber that's like knowledge, you know, I'm stepping away. And then there's been all these super dope co-signs, you know, from Mickman. A lot where they're just putting him on, dude, and highlighting him. Yeah,
for sure. I like what he's really done, like with his little umbrella of artists that he fucks with, you know, and has for his events and that he supports and that OD supports and everything that they run events with. Like, when I first found Tipper, it was kind of like Tipper and friends really meant like Tipper and people he was friends with, you know, like Android Jones would pop up and Shabongle and, you know, stuff like that. Or Ott, it was like one of the first Tipper events I went to and stuff. And even I think, like Killsmith was kind of on his radar pretty early. Like I saw Killsmith like in that similar scene fairly early on out here, especially being a Colorado local. And then, like, as he kind of progressed into, like, 2016, 2017 and started doing more of, like, the Tipper and Friends events, like, it became Jade and then Detox, and it was really just them 3 for a while. And then, like, people kind of had, like, Resonant Language was still a low-key name at that time. Mickman was still a really low-key name. Like, I ran into Mickman at Infrasound when I first went, and we became friends and stuff, and I had no idea who he was. I didn't put 2 and 2 together, nor did I ask or anything, you know? And then at Suboctave, like, I really wanted to see that set. Like, that was one I was pumped to see. I'd been listening to his music for, like, a year or 2 and had no idea who he was, never really seen his name on a lineup. And then he played at, like, a 500-person event in, like, a little barn, and he jumps up on stage, and I was like, dude, I know this guy. Like, that's crazy. And, like, I even told him after that, I was like, you should be playing Tipper events, not 500 people events. Like, what is going on? Like, you make the craziest tunes. And then his first Tipper event was Red Rocks. And I was like, that's insane, you know, like, but well deserved. And, you know, some of us, like, if you were on that scale, you saw Resonant Language coming, you saw Mickman coming for like a long time. And I'm really happy that that team also pays attention to where they need to pay attention to, you know. And now since then they have a big umbrella of artists that they've kind of tucked under their wing and brought to these shows that do a great job.
Very thorough, the whole team. Like, inside and out. I mean, the Tipper Red Rocks was the last time I saw Tipper. Yeah, the Mickman said he did the blackout visuals. I remember there.
That was sweet.
That was dope.
That was definitely one of my favorite Serve shows ever. It's probably the only show I've ever seen where people stopped looking at the stage and just turned around and were dancing with each other. And like just vibing, you know, just actually vibing and not paying attention to what was happening anywhere else other than in their circle. And that felt awesome. That felt like something you see in movies, like in dance scenes where everybody's just like in a circle, discoing on the ground and stuff. And like nobody's really looking at the DJ or paying attention to anything going on besides like what's in front of them. And that's exactly how that felt. And like, so I hope Tipper's like that on Blackout Night. Like, I mean, I don't see why it wouldn't be, but people are so fixated at his shows that having their spot and having the perfect visual of what's going on. And I really hope that kind of loosens up on Friday night, and that should kind of carry in through the rest of the weekend, which will be really nice.
I like the breaking the mold. I see the Mickman does that a lot of just trying something new. I mean, and he's very outspoken, which I really appreciate.
Definitely.
You know,
man, that's only made me like him even more as a person and an artist, you know, because I definitely kind of feel the same way he does when it comes to a lot of things, and he's kind of spoken about it. And I like that he kind of, like, I don't know, people listen to him, you know, I'm a nobody. People aren't going to listen to my opinion, nor do I think they should, you know, it's my opinion. But he's kind of outspoken about how he doesn't want to do the media reels and, you know, feed into the social media game of like producing music and stuff. He's sitting on his farm, feeding his animals and making bangers, and it works, you know? And like, I've tried to use that as an example with people. I'm like, I don't feel like you don't absolutely need to do the social media thing when it comes to music. Like, of course it helps, but it should be a tool that you use. It shouldn't be something that you're so focused on that it's stressing you and that you're losing time making music, trying to pump out reels for Facebook. Like for the one song you've made in a month, you know, where there's other people out here just cranking out tunes because they want to make music, and whether they release them or not, they're just sitting in their room making music and making music and making music. And eventually they're going to have something that surpasses you, whether they're at that level or not right now, just because they're so focused on their craft. You know, they're not focused on whether they're getting the likes or not. And I feel like eventually that shines through, like in every case.